If the Book of Mormon contains the fullness of the everlasting gospel, why doesn't it say anything about so many important teachings, such as eternal progression, celestial marriage, the word of wisdom, the plurality of gods, the pre-existence of man, our mother in heaven, baptism for the dead, and so much more?
Question 18. If the Book of Mormon contains the fullness of the gospel, why doesn't it say anything about so many important teachings such as eternal progression, celestial marriage, the word of wisdom, the plurality of gods, the pre-existence of man, our mother in heaven, baptism for the dead, and so much more? First of all, not all of these things are important, and some of them are taught in the Book of Mormon. However, I'm going to address the basic question of why are there certain teachings of the church that are not found in the Book of Mormon itself. And this is very true, there are. But the reason for this is given in the Book of Mormon. So to answer this question, we first must understand what it means to have the fullness of the gospel. In the Book of Mormon, in 3 Nephi, chapter 27, starting in verse 13, we are given a definition and summary of what the fullness of the gospel contains. It reads, "Behold, I have given unto you my gospel, and this is the gospel which I have given unto you, that I came into the world to do the will of my Father, because my Father sent me. And my Father sent me that I might be lifted up upon the cross, and after that I had been lifted up upon the cross, that I might draw all men unto me, that as I have been lifted up by men, even so should men be lifted up by the Father, to stand before me, to be judged of their works, whether they be good or whether they be evil. And for this cause have I been lifted up, therefore, according to the power of the Father, I will draw all men unto me, that they may be judged according to their works. And it shall come to pass, that whosoever repenteth and is baptized in my name shall be filled. And if he endureth to the end, behold, him will I hold guiltless before my Father at that day, when I shall stand to judge the world. And he that endureth not unto the end, the same is he that is also hewn down and cast into the fire, from whence there can no more return, because of the justice of the Father. And this is the word which he hath given unto the children of men, and for this cause he fulfilleth the words which he hath given, and he lieth not, but fulfilleth all his words." Now, before I go into details on this, I would like to point out that the word gospel, the actual meaning of this word, as most Christians will tell you, is good news. So what is the fullness of the gospel? What does Christ teach us here in 3 Nephi? The good news, or the gospel in its fullness, is that Christ came, was lifted on the cross, and died for the sins of the world. That he now stands as the judge of all those who have lived on this earth, and that through his atonement we can be judged of our own works, that if we live righteously, we can be joined with him and the Father in the celestial kingdom. That is the gospel, and that is the fullness of the gospel. Anything that is not in that definition and summary is not part of the fullness of the gospel. Joseph Smith explained it in this way. In the scriptural teachings of the prophet Joseph Smith, as compiled by Joseph Fielding Smith, page 121, Joseph Smith states, "The fundamental principles of our religion are the testimony of the apostles and prophets concerning Jesus Christ, that he died, was buried, and rose again the third day, and ascended into heaven. And all other things which pertain to our religion are only appendages to it. So the gospel, the fullness of the gospel, is that good news of the work that Christ did in performing the atonement on our behalf, that we may, if we are diligent in this life, be saved in the kingdom of God. Anything that is not directly a part of that atonement is not part of the fullness of the everlasting gospel. Therefore, the many doctrines that the church teaches that are not contained in the Book of Mormon, while they are part of our religion and are part of the truth that has been revealed by Christ unto his prophets on the earth, they are not part of the atonement and thus are not part of the fullness of the gospel. However, it is true that in the modern day the term gospel is generally used in reference to the entire religion and Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So in the modern day, when we use the term gospel, we are referring to all of it. But when the Book of Mormon was written, and when Joseph Smith wrote his statement that it contained the fullness of the gospel, they did not mean the entire religion, but that core doctrine that Christ outlined in 3rd Nephi.